Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure for me to welcome you to a new broadcast. One of the key quotations of Agni Yoga is, "The Agni Yogi verily lives in two worlds." Today we want to talk about this life in two worlds. The subject has three aspects. The first aspect is Agni Yoga teaches that we should not withdraw from earthly life. The second aspect, we should not stick to the earthly matters, to the perishable things. And the third aspect, Agni Yoga shows us how we can already now, during our material existence on earth, really participate in the life of the spiritual world, our true homeland. Let us start with the first aspect, not withdraw from life. The world is beautiful and full of wonderful possibilities. Look around. Is the planet on which we may live not a paradise? Our teaching represents the world as rich, joyous, and attractive. The immortal sees the earthly and the supermundane, the visible and the invisible world as one inseparable reality. Therefore, we must not diminish the earthly matters in order to glorify the heavenly ones. Indeed, not breaking away from the earth, but the capacity for unifying the worlds is what makes man a creator. Therefore, the brotherhood imperatively demands that we do not withdraw from earthly life, but face its challenges. Flee not from life, but walk the higher path. The beauty of the teaching of Agni Yoga is due precisely to the fact that it contains nothing abstract, but has only one goal: to ameliorate your personal everyday life. Everything is of worth only in life and for life. Escapism is the wrong way. It is no coincidence that our souls are incarnated just on this planet. For the time being, we are not yet ripe for other higher worlds. The path of the hermit is not our path. One must offer to life the flowers of experience. The mission that you have accepted at your incarnation must be fulfilled. It does not allow you to leave the world. If you want to transform yourself and the circumstances, You have to submit to the conditions prevailing on earth. Those who fulfill an earthly mission do so under earthly conditions. You may, from time to time, withdraw temporarily from the hustle and bustle of the world, but only to return with new strength and to fight even more powerfully for the rule of the Spirit on earth. True, a master must go apart for a time, but only to gain strength to endure the stress and strain of the physical environment. Enlightenment, assimilation of spiritual food, comes in loneliness and quietude, because it pertains to the spiritual life. But upon its attainment follows a period when that enlightenment, that force which has been generated in the silence, must be put to the service of the rest of the world. The struggle between light and darkness, between good and evil, must be fought nowhere else than down here on earth. Or do you want to give up to chaos the basis of the world pyramid, the material level? It is impossible to leave the world to decompose. You cannot run away from the trials of daily earthly life. You will continue to be placed into a difficult situation until you have mastered. That means until you have spiritually overcome it. Only in this way you can perfect yourself and continue to rise. Only in the midst of life you can learn what is to be learned on this planet. Not in remote laboratories, not in monastic cells, but in life shall you gather the truthful records. Indeed, through life one must attain. Pseudo-teachers who tempt you to go the easy way hide the fact that your rising to higher levels is blocked as long as you did not master the requirements of the lower level. Agni Yoga must be introduced into life, but its bearers must not differ externally from others in life. The Agni Yogi lives unnoticed. There should not be even the slightest alienation from life. Life on earth is the only place where you can really make progress in your development. You should not let go unused the opportunity for growth that it offers. The entire transmutation, which is the threshold of the higher, boundless creativeness, is attained in life on earth. In the other world, you assimilate ideas and ideals and learn what is essential. Crucial, however, is to actually transform into material reality all what you have learned and dreamed of. And this is possible down here on earth only. Man must treasure his earthly life as he finds new ways of perfectment in it. Of course, the material level is the most difficult one for the spirit. For the overall construction of the worlds, however, this basis of the pyramid is the most important sphere. Only down here man appears complete in all bodies. Only here, therefore, can he shape his entire being. Three planes are manifested to humanity for the realization of all principles. Indeed, it is easy for the spirit to strive upon the higher planes, but the earthly, the lowest pole, is established as the place of decision. Only there, where light and darkness battle, can the spirit manifest a free choice. Imbued by the emanations of the energies, the spirit can establish itself through the expression of its striving. Only when immersed in the earthly sphere can one manifest the subtlety of striving into higher spheres. Verily, man must pass through purgatory. Otherwise, the spirit cannot attain the predestined world, which comprises all spheres. It is the very essence of the spiritual path to develop higher striving in the middle of adverse material conditions. The achievement of the spirit consists in that amidst earthly difficulties and struggles, the spirit develops higher striving. How could one attain the highest state, attain refinement of consciousness, without spiritual labor? So many blessed cares are on the path of the purification of consciousness. It is really true. The more difficult the conditions, the more valuable are the experiences which you can gather. The teacher, Plato, allowed himself to be sold into slavery so that his earthly path might be fulfilled as quickly as possible. He knew and profoundly felt all earthly hardships in full measure, and succeeded in gathering vast experience during his last life on earth. The great teachers have taken upon themselves the whole chalice of earthly suffering, although they had long since earned the right to live in higher spheres. Their heroism lies in the fact that these high spirits have exposed themselves to the terrible worldly radiations in order to accomplish their task down here. If the Mahatmas had not themselves lived through and suffered the earthly conditions, they would not be able to help us. Can you imagine how a great master, a highly refined creature such as Jesus Christ, must have suffered from the coarse worldly atmosphere? For example, when he attended the wedding at Cana, where certainly the amusement with wine, women, dancing and singing was in the foreground, and he had even to procure the wine. The great pilgrim, Jesus, did not avoid mingling with people. He visited their festivals and discussed their daily needs, but few noticed the many wise warnings that were given with a beautiful smile and words of encouragement. If he had not come into contact with life and had not suffered, his deeds would not have been as great. No one realized how tormented he was by the many disturbed auras he came into contact with in this way. Let us hear the famous words of the initiate Paul about the sufferings of the apostles of the early church. I have had more experience of hard work, of prisons, of blows more than measure, of death. Of the Jews 5 times received I 40 stripes, save one. Thrice was I beaten with rods. Once was I stoned. Thrice I suffered shipwreck. A night and a day I have been in the water. No member of the Brotherhood, without exception, has fared differently. If we want to become co-workers to their great work, we have to be prepared for similar tests and attacks. Can you name even one sister or brother of the Brotherhood who was not subjected to tortures and persecutions in earthly life? Truly, none can be named. Each heroic act invites persecution. Combat with darkness is unavoidable, and the waves of chaos will engulf bold fighters. Yet such touchstones only testify to the invincibility of the spirit. There were those who were burned at the stake, crucified, beheaded, strangled, killed by beasts, sold into slavery, poisoned, or cast into prison. In short, they endured all tortures so that their strength could be tested. Each one who wishes to serve with us knows that he will have to endure the assaults of darkness.